Welcome to Collaborations with Spirit, 21 channeled messages to activate your energy system and create from divine flow. My name is Christina Miglino, and it's such a joy to be your host for this show. I'm so excited to introduce to you a new woman in my life and an absolutely beautiful presence, Lisa Love. She serves as a certified master life coach, a spiritual teacher, and energetic healer who empowers you to rise up into the full evolutionary potential of your soul. Welcome, Lisa.
Hello, Christina, and everyone viewing today. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. It is really wonderful to have you on here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's dive in, and it would be an honor to hear a little bit about your personal awakening journey, which I know is always a journey, but whatever you'd like to share with the audience would be awesome.
Sure. Yeah, well, like many of us, I had a very challenging and troubled childhood. I experienced, unfortunately, a lot of sexual abuse, sexual wounding, and I knew from an early age that I needed to heal myself, that my healing was my top priority, and knowing myself was my top priority. So where a lot of people were focused on school or money, career, I was really focused on my self-development as a soul.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent countless hours meditating and studying different spiritual religions and ways of being, and I would immerse myself in each one. I spent a lot of time in nature, tremendous spiritual practice, and then really working with different healers and therapists to work through my sexual abuse that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And through that pathway, I wouldn't say that I was really focused on awakening.
Mm-hmm.
I was focused on healing. I was focused on how can I just feel good on a day-to-day basis and, feel alive and happy and free within my own being.
Mm-hmm.
And through that, particularly the sexual abuse, it really led me to my womb and doing a lot of womb work. And through that process, through my own healing, my womb awakened. And then I began to receive messages, guidance, messages for other women. It happened very naturally. And I also feel through all the years of spiritual practice, self-reflection time, meditation, that I developed a stillness of mind, a stillness of being. One of my favorite things to do is meditate in nature. And so I feel like it was like there was already a ripeness for then when I started to work with my womb and took that deeper, this pathway was already set up where then I could really be present to what was unfolding and evolving within my womb space. And that's really where things started to shift and take off for me and transform. And then through that, my work began to develop. And so it's really just been a journey of my own healing, a journey of my own wellness.
Yeah, absolutely. That's beautiful. It's such a, for some of us, we really choose lives where we learn that way, and I am so sorry for your suffering. And I'm also just absolutely, I can feel the power, that you hold because of your own healing and what you've created in your life. And it's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So this womb work that you do is really important, and I can feel it. Like, I remember when we first chatted about it and I was like, oh my God, this is so needed in the world, and I'm curious if you could talk a little bit more about that, because one of the things about this show is it's really about the energy of creation, you know, and it's within all of us. But I truly believe that women hold this special codes, or, you know, creation codes within us, and it's very much in that place. So can you talk a little bit about what it looks like to be doing the womb work that you do?
Absolutely. So our womb space as women it's an empty vessel, right? And it can fill with different things. It can fill with the man's energy that we made love with. It can fill with our family history and abuse and lineage lines. It can fill with our worries and fears. It can fill with a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And so as women, you know, we tend to carry around these energies and vibrations in our wombs that make it full. And it keeps us from our own essential essence and our own power, our own seat, our own throne.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's filled up with all these other things. And so womb work is really about going into your own womb and clearing and cleansing whatever's there that's not yours, without judgment, without shame, total love and acceptance. And from that place, the openness of the womb, the clarity of the womb, the emptiness of the womb, we tune into what does the womb really do, right? She brings a spirit in from the spirit world. However she does that, it's like pure magic.
Mm-hmm.
And she holds it, and she contains it, and she births it, and she shapes it, and she turns it into this form.
Mm-hmm.
And then we as women birth that into the world.
Mm-hmm.
Our cervix opens to do this. And so we as women receive the spiritual energies and birth them into the world.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever age, you know, it's always a question I get, well, I'm, you know, menopausal, or I don't have my menstruation. It doesn't matter. We all have this potential and ability.
Mm-hmm.
And when a woman is bleeding, it's the only other time that her cervix is open, right, to pass the blood through. So that's also a very deeply spiritual time for women to really tune into the spirit world, and you're really potentized at that time because the cervix is open. That's when we birth spirit into matter.
Mm-hmm.
So this potential that we have from this clear, cleansed, empty, filled with ourself space of the womb is really to bring through, you know, everybody works with life in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, some women want to bring through, you know, their work into the world. Some women just want to be potentized to be better mothers and partners, to have a relationship. Some women want to just do it for their own awakening and their own evolution.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really matter what you want to do with this energy that you're bringing through your womb and birthing into the world, but that this is what's needed on the planet now.
Mm-hmm.
We have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years. The women have been removed from their power. And we can see it now, right? The feminine is rising.
Mm-hmm.
So we need more women who are potentized and clear and alchemized in their womb. And this is not to negate the men, because the men also have the energetic womb, which is their hara. And so it's equally as important for men to be in this place of a clear and potentized hara, you know, to stand in their power, to stand in their throne, because they've been wounded as well. So we're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love what you said about bringing spirit into matter. That's so beautiful. Thinking about it like that. It's so true. There's a lot of people that are listening who are art makers, you know, and it's the same process. I know I also make a lot of art too. And it's like it's fascinating to do that deeper listening, that deeper work to clear the womb space so something can really come through. It's powerful. And I hear you, and I'm so happy that you do the work you do, because there's a reclamation happening. I'm going to be running a retreat in February in Mexico called the Reclamation of the Goddess. And it's all this like awakening, like we get to be the goddess. Like that's what we're here to do, you know? So it's very exciting. I think it's very exciting. And it doesn't negate the men in the world. It's just the swing of the pendulum, you know? It's about time.
Yeah.
Yesterday, right?
Right.
For sure. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about you recognizing yourself as a channel, because I know that that's something that's come up for you, and it's so beautiful to realize, you know, about yourself.
Yes. So many years ago, I'd say about 12 to 13 years ago, I went through a initiation with shamans from Queros, from Peru.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very long process. And afterwards, I started to hear things.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like, am I crazy? Like, what's going on? And then I continued to hear, you know, you will be shown that this is real and this is true. And that, you know, your higher guidance is speaking to you and through you. And I do feel that all the years of meditation and spiritual study and knowing thyself, like I said, it created a ripe environment for all of this unfoldment to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I very much was continued to be shown that what I was receiving was indeed correct and true, but I still was not in the place of claiming or embodying or telling anybody that I was a channel. It was like this thing that I was kind of keeping hidden and tucked away because, you know, it wasn't so out there that long ago. It wasn't, or maybe it was, but I wasn't aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say just in the last 4 years or so, there has been a deeper awareness within me and a deeper claiming that I am indeed channeling, that there is an openness. And it's come through with my clients in sessions where, you know, at the end of each session, there is a guided energetic healing and channeling that comes through each individual for each person. And in that process, I'm always surprised because it's not planned. It's, you know, I just open myself up to what is alive in this moment. Really, it's present with what energy is before me, what energy is coming through me. And, you know, clients always come back and say, oh my goodness, you know, like you just told me this and 20 minutes later this happened, or this is exactly what I was going through and I didn't tell you. And so it just continued to be shown to me through example that this is what is happening. And so I am standing more strongly in saying that. But it's been a delicate process, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. There's a beautiful, you said unfolding, like uncovering of what it feels like more than anything. Like we use these words like healing and clearing, and I love that. And also it feels, what I'm noticing, because I just came out as a channel myself, which is funny because I've been doing it my whole life. You know, you like wake up to your true self one day and you're like, oh yeah, all I have to do is just be real about what's going on. But I don't know where I was going with that, but just that it's really just recognizing the self. It's like actually it's recognizing the self without all the judgment and the blame and the shame and all those layers of what, and those are masks. They're stories that we made up about ourselves, you know. And I'm just saying this because I also called in a really complicated life, especially in the first half. I'm, knock on wood, it's full of joy now and love and light, and it will continue to be. But just for people out there, like if you're really feeling it, if you're really feeling the suffering, you know, right now of the planet, of your own experience, that to keep going and to send love in, because that's what's needed, you know. And we're all here doing this work to support you too, and this is a collective experience. I don't know why this is all coming out right now. It must be inspired by you, Lisa, because I just feel like this is so needed. And also just the community of it. Like, I don't know about you, but going through all the work, I mean, there's so much dedication and commitment to our own healing, right? To come to the place where we can say, I'm a channel. Oh yeah, this is what was underneath all of that the whole time, you know? But to stick with it, it takes a lot of, I don't know about you, but it seems like it's just like, it's rigorous, the road. You know?
Absolutely. And as you're speaking to the people who may be suffering, I'm really feeling that coming through me as well. And I feel like it is a prayer that we share, that this whole thing that you have created is serving the awakening and the evolution of anyone who is watching this. And if you are suffering right now, yes, like keep going. There were moments where I thought it would never change. I'm doing all of this work, and like I wake up in the morning and I'm still suffering. I'm still having anxiety.
Yeah.
And I kept telling myself, it's all about, yes, the stories we tell ourselves. I kept telling myself, at some point, all of this work that I'm doing, there's going to be a tipping point, right? It's like the scale's like this to the suffering, and I keep doing this work, and it may seem like nothing is happening, but then at some point, it's like, whoop.
Yeah.
And that was the vision that I kept holding for myself on those days that I wanted to give up, on those days that I didn't want to meditate, on those days where I was like, whatever, I'll just be this way. And then it was like, no, you know, I know that I've got to keep going. I know that this is for more than me, right? It's the 100th monkey. Right. If I can do this, if I can heal as a woman from being sexually abused and traumatized as a young child, and I can do that within myself, and I'm creating the liberation and the freedom for every single other woman on this planet to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
And there are many women who are examples of this and who came before me who also helped. So yes, keep going, reach out to your community, your loved ones, your friends, stay engaged. And I know you have a Facebook group, right, for people?
Yeah, absolutely. The collaborations with Spirit Group. It's private just because, you know, we want you to have some knowledge of what's going on there, but just ask and we'll let you in there. It's a beautiful community. It's blossoming right now. Yeah, but certainly there are a lot of circles. I keep getting visions, Lisa, of like circles of women in particular coming together to midwife each other's work into the world. Work, meaning work, projects, babies, whatever it is, you know?
Themselves, yes.
Themselves. It's all, exactly. It's all about that. I just want to mention, because I love this direction that we're going down. But to go back to what you said about our moon time, and I'll just say, like, from my own experience, and I would love to hear what yours was, but when I pretty much until, like, I started my period when I was 10 years old. And it wasn't until this month that I wasn't so sick that I had to get in bed for half the time. And there's a reason why that happens, though. And I just want to say this, because what we're talking about, and I've had sexual trauma and other trauma as well. And there's so much about what you're saying, how that gets stored in the womb, right? And it's like, I literally, every womb time, every moon time, something would turn on myself. Like I would turn on myself and I would hate it and I would get angry. All these emotions that I felt like, wow, I had the rest of right? We say it's PMS and all these things, but to be honest, it's like tapping into the feminine collective consciousness that we are holding or hopefully clearing. That's been my experience. But this month, knock on wood, I'm doing a lot better. So there must be something going on, all this channeling and clearing and, but many years of work, like you're saying, it's fascinating.
Absolutely. And may I add into that a
Please,
little
yes, yes, yes.
and
Yeah.
speak about that? So, while yes, we're tapping into the feminine collective consciousness, the feminine collective unconsciousness, but really we're tapping into our own womb space, right? And we think about what's happening is that the womb herself, she's shedding her lining, she's shedding her layers, which means all of those cellular memories that have been held within that lining, right? Like I said earlier, the womb is an empty vessel and she stores and holds whatever, our thought forms, our pain, our fear, our self-judgment, our past experiences. And so as we're bleeding, that's all, it's like the cells they become diffuse and they open.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we can be present with that process,
Mm-hmm.
and as that stuff is clearing out and cleansing through and releasing, we have a very activated time to truly heal ourselves and our collective. I actually have a course. It's a free course. It's a 4-day shamanic womb course for women that is to be done while you're bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes you through each day and what's happening and how to turn that into a shamanic journey, but also a healing and cleansing, and then how to offer your blood, how to offer all of that wounding trauma, whatever's been held in the womb, back to the earth. It's one of the most potent times of the month we have as women to do our healing work. And if you're not bleeding, you can use a cup of grape juice or red wine to symbolize your blood.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that we can just talk about this on a free online show online. Isn't it great? Are we so blessed?
And it's so necessary, and I often tell women that when you can love your bleeding, when you can just be in love with your bleeding, you have really gotten into your full love of your feminine nature. We have to love all of ourselves, the good, bad, and the ugly,
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a question about what is something that the audience can take away around maintaining like a clear energy system? And this is part of what we're talking about with the womb, right? What would you suggest?
I'd like to open it to men and women because I know there's a lot more than just women that are tuning in.
Yeah.
Definitely being with oneself, spending time with yourself in whatever way that looks like, to know our energy system and to off or maybe full of other things. We really have to get to know ourselves and what we feel like. And so that's meditation, taking a walk in nature, sitting in nature, just being alone without any devices, any TV, any music, and just really being with this one here. Harmonizing with yourself. And I'd say that that's really the first step. And then beyond that, beginning to identify how the mind works. Because when the mind is chatting and the mind is going, then the emotions get stirred up, and then that affects our energetic state. That affects our ability to be able to channel, to bring messages, to have guidance and clarity about our life and our movement forward or our work in the world. So when you know yourself, and then you begin to work on these subtle layers of what am I thinking, and quieting the mind. And coming into that deeper resonance of the heart, and then even deeper into the womb or the heart space, where we're really sinking down into embodiment. And from that place, there's an openness that happens, right? My mind is calm, my heart is open and full of love, and my energy is sunk all the way down into my hara or my womb space. It's like my anchor, my ground. And there becomes this clear presence, this clear openness, this clear channel for divinity or your guides or, whatever it is. to flow through,
clear
and unimpeded.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And thank you for that. And when you do that and you notice that something is there, that something is blocking or obstructing that, free flowing of that channel, what do you do? Like, say you're out in nature and you're sort of tuning in and you notice that there's something going on. How can we just be with that? Like, is there anything we need to do, or?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Definitely bringing our awareness to it, tending to it. It's getting our attention for a reason. It has information for us.
Yeah.
Right? And so if I'm feeling maybe fear, and maybe finding out, like, where is it located? Where is this sensation or energy located? And very simply just bringing your hands to it. And bringing your total awareness and presence. And it's, you can call it the higher self, you can call it your parental self, you can call it your conscious self, whatever it is. We all have this ability to discern and say, oh gosh, like, I'm feeling fear. Well, who is it that is feeling fear? Who is it that's noticing fear? That's some higher part of ourselves, which hopefully, we really want to work on embodying and integrating, so we're all one. But bringing that awareness to it and holding it with presence. So I'm here for you. I see you. And when I was first starting my healing journey, I used to judge myself a lot. Oh, I'm broken. I've got to fix myself. I've got these issues. I've got these problems. And I'm not okay. I'm broken, from the sexual abuse. And I would work with all these healers, and they're like, you're not broken. There's nothing to be fixed. And that was such a hard concept.
Right.
But when I really begin to embrace that concept, that it's valid, whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm experiencing is valid, and it has information. And so if I tune in and I really listen to it, and I extract, I harvest what the information is, and I integrate it and I embody it, it resolves. But if I come at it with judgment or, shame or neglect or whatever it is, it stays tucked in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's so amazing to just put words on this, it's like, and everybody has their own way of saying what you're saying. We've been touching on it a lot in this series too. And I never think that it's too much. Like, we just need to keep hearing this message that you're saying, because I know at the biggest points of suffering in my own life, to just be with the suffering was so hard and so powerful, to think that there is nothing outside of ourselves that's going to do it. There's nobody outside of ourselves that's going to fix it or heal it, that we are radically responsible for our lives. And that's like what I'm hearing you say is it's really about responsibility, and just, it's not like responsibility like go do your chores. It's like responsibility like, well, you're the one feeling it. So how do you show up for you,
Which then is how you show up for the rest of the world.
Yeah. What were some of the higher vibrational emotions that you really came into when you noticed you had done some big healing work for yourself?
That's a really deep question. It gets me thinking. Pure expansiveness, a loss of self-identity, and receiving. So that's when my work really started to happen, because it's like everything really expanded, very open, very clear, very connected. And then from there was information that came through, and guidance that came through, and messages for humanity.
Yeah.
And to me, there's nothing higher than that. right? Being of service to whoever is suffering, because I know that suffering intimately. And I've also moved through the suffering.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. So why don't you just let the audience know what it is that you are offering them through this show?
I have many different sessions available on my website, some particularly for women, some for men and women. So I have something called Soul Journey, which is really helping you through this process of clearing the mind, clearing the emotions, tending to the spirit, tending to the body, to really connect with and live from the soul. And there's 13th Rite of the Womb, which is a ceremony for women to clear their womb space. Feminine Regeneration, which is really helping women to regenerate their feminine essence. And then Soul Medicine Sessions, which is really about receiving the medicine of your soul. So any one of those sessions I'm offering to your viewers at a discounted rate.
Nice. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Such a blessing. So this is our time. I would love it if you feel called to offer a channeled message to the audience.
Thank you. I would love to.
Thank you.
Surrendering down and softening the body, melting the layers of the mind, melting the layers of ego, melting the layers of the body, melting the layers of the emotion, letting that all fall away to dive into what remains, what is essentially you, that's beyond and deeper than all of these past programs and limited beliefs and fears of the future. What exists right now within you in this moment that is pure and unadulterated? What is that? Feel into your heart, breathing in and out of your heart this loving, expansive energy, this loving, expansive energy that exists all around you. Love is here for you. Love surrounds you. Love is encompassing you in this moment now. It is these layers of mind, these layers of ego, these layers of hard rigidness in the body, these layers of emotional energies that block you from fully opening and receiving the love that exists all around you. You are never alone. Never alone. Life is all around you, from the sun that shines, the wind that blows, the earth beneath your feet. These elements and energies of life exist. They are here for you, to bring you to life. When you relax these layers and dive deeper into your essential nature, your spirit nature, the seat of your soul, these energies of life flow through you. They move through you with ease and grace. They bring you to life. There's no need to fear here. There's only love. And we ask you now to breathe that in. Breathe in the love. Breathe in the light of the sun. Breathe in the wind. Breathe in the earth. Breathe in the waters of life. They are all here to love you. They are all here to give you life. So in any moment when you're feeling any suffering or pain or fear or lack of love or aloneness, all you have to do is reach out to the energies of life that are real, that are tangible. It's not imaginary. And breathe that in and soak that in to your whole being and let it feed you. Let it nourish you. Let it nurture your heart. With this, we say thank you. Thank you for all that you have gone through, all the work that you are doing, all the ways that you are showing up in the world. It is seen. It is seen by these forces of life. And we thank you. We thank you. And we wish you a good day.
Thank you so much, Lisa Love. That was so beautiful.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you for all that you're doing and all that you're creating, the space that you're holding so that we all may evolve. Thank you.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. We're doing it hand in hand. It's such a pleasure. So I'm so grateful for you and the work that you do. And for this beautiful audience that's been here, thank you all for listening. And please take these blessings with you, share them out, jump in the Facebook and let's keep the love going. We'll just keep it going. Right. We'll see you soon. Thank you again, Lisa.
Thank you. Be well.